Tarantula mating season. What you need to know. Brace yourself. One of nature's most misunderstood spectacles is about to unfold, and opinions are bound to be divided. Tarantula mating season is upon us, sending chills down some spines and sparking excitement in others. Every year, as sultry humidity and soaring temperatures arrive, these secretive hairy creatures emerge from their underground homes in search of a mate. But here's where things get interesting. Fascination and fear collide, and the truth might surprise you. So where exactly are these eight-leg wanderers headed? Tarantulas are drawn to hot, moist environments, making the arid regions of the American Southwest and West their preferred habitat. Spots like Arizona, California, Texas, New Mexico, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Oregon, and Washington become especially lively between August and October, when mating drives these spiders out into the open. The combination of late summer warmth and moisture draws them into the spotlight, often to the astonishment of locals and tourists alike. But here's the part most people miss. Despite alarming headlines about swarms, the average person isn't likely to cross paths with a tarantula. Dan McCanish, a senior environmental scientist at California State Parks, reassures curious and cautious citizens. Unless you're venturing outdoors in the middle of the night, a choice he doesn't recommend for safety reasons, you're unlikely to bump into these night-loving arachnids. Like many desert dwellers, tarantulas are nocturnal and generally avoid humans. On the off chance you do meet one of these fuzzy wanderers, don't panic. Most native tarantulas in the United States pose no serious danger to people. While a bite is possible if the animal feels threatened, its sting is about as painful as a bee's, a nuisance rather than a health crisis for most individuals. However, if you have allergies to spider bites, caution is warranted. Just as with bees, allergic reactions vary, and being prepared can make all the difference. And here comes the controversy. Are tarantulas pests, or are they valuable members of their ecosystems? McCamish argues for the latter, describing them as gentle and ecologically essential creatures. They play a key role in keeping insect populations in check and typically prefer escape over confrontation. Most will scurry away from any large creature, especially one that could easily crush them. Tarantula watching has even become a curiosity-driven pastime in parts of the country. For example, in La Junta, Colorado, crowds routinely gather right before dusk to witness the Great Tarantula Parade. The best places for these sightings remain the arid states of the West and Southwest, with campsites or even quiet backyards serving as ideal observation posts. If you venture out hoping to spot one, you're most likely to encounter the desert blonde tarantula or the Texas brown, common species that often draw the curious and the brave. Here's a caution most people overlook. While tarantulas are generally docile, they are best appreciated from a safe distance. Their abdomens are covered with special barbed hairs meant to defend against predators that can cause significant discomfort if touched, leading to weeks of skin irritation. And don't forget, they may be protecting eggs or participating in intricate mating rituals, which means disturbing them not only risks your own safety, but could interfere with their life cycle. So how do you feel about tarantulas making a seasonal appearance? Are these fascinating arachnids unfairly maligned? Or do close encounters set your nerves on edge? Maybe you see them as vital players in the environment. Or maybe their presence just isn't welcome. We want to hear your take. Join the discussion below. Are you team tarantula? Or do you think the fuss about mating season is overblown? Tarantula invasion. Where to watch your step. Imagine a massive wave of giant spiders suddenly appearing across the American Southwest, all driven by one primal urge to find a mate. That's the reality unfolding right now during tarantula mating season. And while it might sound like a scene straight out of a horror movie, experts assure us it's a fascinating natural spectacle rather than a real threat. But here's where it gets controversial. Some people are thrilled by the chance to witness this event, while others can't shake the fear, sparking debates about whether we should celebrate or fear these creatures. Let's break this down step by step, especially for those who are new to the world of arachnids. Tarantulas, which are actually a type of large spider, start coming out of their underground homes due to warmer spring temperatures and increased moisture. This makes sense because these conditions signal that it's a good time for them to venture out and search for food and partners. For example, think about how rain can bring earthworms to the surface. Similarly, moisture wakes up tarantulas from their burrows, prompting them to explore. Right now, Texas is in the thick of its mating season, with reports of these spiders showing up in grasslands and deserts across the southern part. If you're in other areas, keep an eye out starting in October and continuing through November in states like California, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and New Mexico. In places like Colorado, tarantulas have become such a big draw that local communities such as La Junta organize events around it. They suggest the best time to spot them is about an hour before dusk in spots like the Comanche National Grassland, where you might see them crossing roads or paths. People often describe seeing groups of these spiders, sometimes called a clutter, and it's not uncommon to spot dozens in a short time. For instance, Forest Service workers have shared stories of counting up to 50 tarantulas in just 90 minutes during peak migration. But don't worry, this isn't like those old sci-fi movies where spiders grow to enormous sizes and cause chaos. In reality, the tarantulas in the US are much smaller, typically topping out at about 4.5 inches across. And then this is the part most people miss. It's mostly the male tarantulas that you see wandering around. Females tend to stay put in their burrows, acting like homebodies, which is why they're less visible. Life isn't easy for these male tarantulas on their quest for love. They might travel up to a mile to find a female, facing all sorts of dangers along the way, such as being eaten by predators like snakes, owls, or foxes, or even getting hit by cars. Some don't make it due to exhaustion or issues with molting, which is the process where they shed their old exoskeleton to grow. It's a tough journey, and it often ends badly, which can evoke sympathy. After all, they're just trying to find a companion. And even if they succeed, their lifespan is short compared to females who can live for 25 years or more. If you're curious and want to observe this phenomenon safely, the prime time is actually in the middle of the night during the summer months. Just remember to keep your distance. Tarantulas aren't aggressive biters, and their bite is similar to a bee sting, which is usually not a big deal for most people. However, some individuals might have an allergic reaction, so it's smart to avoid provoking them. Experts point out that these spiders play a helpful role in the ecosystem, like controlling pest populations, so they're worth appreciating from afar rather than handling. But here's where it gets controversial. While many see tarantulas as harmless and even beneficial, others view them as creepy invaders that don't belong in human spaces. Is it right to encourage tourism around their mating habits, or does that disrupt their natural behavior? And what about the ethical side of intervening in wildlife events? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you find this tarantula migration exciting, or does it give you the chills? Share in the comments whether you think we should protect these spiders or if they're just another pest to avoid.